This here is the V-taper. It's one of the fastest ways to look bigger while keeping your waist small. But most bodybuilders don't ever really get it. Not because they don't train back, but because they don't train their lats accurately. And I know that because earlier on in my bodybuilding, that was me. I did rows, I did pull downs, I did rack pulls. My back got thick, my traps were there, my arms were big. But when I hit a front double or a rear double, my lats just seemed to suck up. They weren't really there, especially the lower lats. And that's a problem because those poses expose everything. If you don't have that arm to armpit width, it shows immediately. I'm John Jewett, IFBB Pro and coach. I educate physique athletes and coaches to reach their full potential and coach some of the top IFBB pros in the game. And this is our body part series, where I teach you how a muscle functions, the right lifts, and the cues to get the most out of that lift possible. Today, we're covering the lats. Let's zoom out for a second. The lat is a large fan-shaped muscle. It spans from mid-back down to the lower back and attaches at one point on the upper arm. So its function is simple: to pull the upper arm from overhead down to the side of the body, also adducting the arm, which keeping that arm close to the torso. When the elbow flares out, that's when other muscles take over. Rear delts, teres major, the rhomboids, traps, and even the arms being a big contributor. Now the lats are absolutely involved in these. However, they're not the limiting factor. I really like to look at fiber arrangement to understand how the muscle should be trained. When the arm is directly overhead, the vertical fibers or the lower lats work to pull the arm down to the hip. When the arm is directly out in front of you, the upper lat fibers are in a more mechanical advantage position to pull the arm back towards the body. So this is simple now. To fully train the lats, we know we're gonna need something vertical, pulling from overhead down to the hip, and also something horizontal, pulling from out in front of the body back to the torso, all while keeping the arm close to the torso as well. Let's start with pull downs, because this is where most people lose their lats, even though it's a go-to movement. I did this wrong for many years. My first cue was chest up, which created a big arch in my lower back and easily made the elbows flare out from the body. Yeah, the lats were working, but they weren't doing the main function like we talked about, from pulling that arm overhead down tight to the torso. So here's the setup I want you to use. So let's start with torso position. What I want you to do is extend your arm out in front of you, push it out towards the wall, thumbs up. Start reaching overhead until you feel the tension in the lat drop off. You also might notice that your thumb starts to rotate in, elbow flaring out. It's also what we don't want. Right before that happens, that's going to be the torso angle to upper arm angle that you want in your pull down. For most people, this might look like a 10 to 20 degree lean back in the pull down. This is just enough so the arm stays out in front of you and that thumb can stay up, prioritizing the lat to start the movement. Now the torso matters here. We don't want a big arch in the spine. We want a neutral spine. I tell people brace the stomach like you're about to get punched in it, so you crunch down on the abs. The lat functions as a core stabilizer, so it actually wraps around the rib cage. When you arch the back, it actually crunches it together and also doesn't fully lengthen out the lat. The next question to get is, what do I do with my hands? The key is keeping the arms close to the body, so really a narrow grip works best. For most people, a pronated overhand grip makes the elbows want to flare out and internally rotate the arm. And in that case, a shoulder width neutral grip can work really well to keep that arm close to the body. Now this setup gets you a lot of the way there. However, it wasn't until the next cue that really changed my lat training for the best. The biggest mistake I see is letting the shoulder rise. The lat should actually initiate the movement with pulling the shoulder down. So that's cue number one, shoulder down. Then I want you to drive that elbow down and in towards your hip, all while keeping your core braced like you're getting punched in the stomach. And the important part, on the way back up, don't let tension off the lat. I want you to push that elbow away from you and extend up and lengthen out the lat. The eccentric control is the game changer for keeping the lat involved. Now, even though we have this pull down set up right, some people still might not feel a lot of lat, especially if you're a big bodybuilder and also if you don't have a lot of external rotation of the shoulder. So here's my favorite fix to this, and we're getting into one of my favorite lifts for the lat. Enter the single arm pull down. If you don't have a lot of equipment, you can set this up with an incline bench and a cable station. Now the torso angle and arm angle I'm looking for is this trying to draw a line through my arm down through the vertical lat fibers with all the same cues that I already set up for you, with that arm overhead at that angle right before that thumb turns in. The single arm version gives you a lot more freedom and control of the arm path. If you need a little extra help to get that elbow tucked to the torso, you can rotate slightly away from the working arm. This is especially helpful if you lack some external rotation in the shoulder. One mistake I see a lot is excessive leaning towards the working arm. This shortens the lat. When in this type of lift, we don't really be able to lengthen out the lat fully in the stretch position. The last thing to check is no twisting in the lift. If you rotate a lot, you start initiating the lift with the obliques and the QL. We don't want momentum moving the way, we want the lat moving it. it. So keep your neutral spine, your core braced, and with the opposite arm, oppose that rotation. But still let that arm extend out and let that scapula wrap around the rib cage. We want to fully lengthen the lat still. Now, a little body movement and rotation is gonna happen. Don't let the form police come and ruin this for you. Tell them to sit this one out. Now, if you have some really good machines, my top machine pick is a Nautilus pull down. It lines up great, has a really good resistance profile. Or you might also have a hammer strength high row machine or something with a similar pattern, and a chest braced is an extra bonus if you have it. Now we need a horizontal pull for upper lat development and back depth. For lats, we don't want to pull in a straight line. It's where a lot of arms get involved. We want to pull high from low and close to the body. Cables work great here. Set them around shoulder height to start. Use a neutral grip, no swing, no arching the lower back. Drive the elbow down into the hip in an arching motion. If you still struggle to feel the lat, I really like the cue of scrape the ground with the pinky back and forward as you're pulling. This will cue the shoulder down, which keeps that lat involved. I want you to have the same neutral spine and core brace, just like the pull down. Now, if you have machine options, my favorite is a Panada row or even the Rogers row, because they are built to function in that arching motion, going from high to low, keeping the arm tight to the body. If equipment is limited, a dumbbell row and a decline bench can work, or even a landmine row. Let's bring this all together. Here's how I want you to apply this. 1 vertical pull, 1 horizontal pull, 2 to 3 sets of each lift, taking to muscular failure. If lats are a priority to you, train them twice a week. Don't worry if you're repeating the same lifts in your second session. It's about following lifts that give you the best connection, and also the same lifts can increase your lifting proficiency and increase load progression at a faster rate. If you're still not sure how you can plug in your lat training into a back workout, down below in the description, I have a free PDF that you can take for a back workout sample. And if this way of thinking clicked, this is exactly what we teach inside of Applied Hypertrophy Optimization. AHO teaches you how to match anatomy, biomechanics, and resistance profiles to get the most out of every single target muscle. If you want to stop guessing and training with intent, that link is down in the description below. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time in our body part series.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.